Now, while she stepped off the pitch last October, we should have known that Stephanie Zambra wouldn't be able to abandon football in any way, shape or form, actually.
And from taking on a high-profile coaching role to setting herself new challenges, Stephanie joins us now to share it all. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
So we mentioned there, you were actually in here last October talking about your retirement, but you couldn't stay away from the world of football for too long. And you're now part of the coaching staff for Shamrock Rovers women's team. Going from player to coach, does that feel like a natural step for you to take?
Yeah, I think, obviously, when I was in here October, I said it to you, I've been involved in football for so long that it just seemed like a natural transition, I think. My day-to-day job with champion coaching is also coaching kids in school, so I've been doing it for maybe 7 or 8 years now anyway. So when the time came to kind of hang up my boots and stop playing, I just thought natural transition would be into coaching, and I was just lucky enough to get the opportunity to go work at Rovers and Collie and Kieran and their staff there, and then obviously with the player to coach programme, the FEI as well. It's been great. So I'm really enjoying the experience at the moment.
Because you've got Shamrock Rovers, you've got the under-17s with Ireland as well. But let's be honest, you are one of our most famous players. You are. Everyone knows your name. And when that happened, to say someone like, I don't know, Roy Keane, there was an awful lot of pressure. Like, everyone was looking at him when he went from player to coach.
Yeah.
So did you, were you thinking about that, going, there will be extra eyes on me because of what I'm doing, because simply your visibility?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's been throughout my career as a player as well. You know, I think ever since the goal, everywhere I went, there was a pressure almost, or if any little thing went wrong or anything like that, you know, it was always there with me. So I think it's the same thing with the transition to coaching. I think particularly coaching players that I used to play with, you know, that was probably the hardest transition in terms of, now in fairness, a lot of the girls that I'm coaching now at the moment that I play with are very young. So it would have almost been trying to help them and coach them when I was playing. So it wasn't as bad. But that's the question everybody always asks, like, oh, how is a coaching players that you've played with? But honestly, it's been okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how the girls feel now, but I feel good with it anyway. It's been good for me, so I'm enjoying it. And from that point of view, in terms of pressure, I'm kind of in the background as such. Like, I'm only an assistant. I'm helping Collie and Kieran, who are there for the last 2 years, you know, and I'm kind of just trying to help out with that other stuff as well. So the pressure isn't always all on me. It's about learning and kind of growing as a coach. And then obviously, hopefully in the future, I'll become a head coach when I can. But at the moment, I'm just kind of learning and trying to do that transition as best I can.
And you obviously have so much experience playing at a high level of football. Do you think that that's essential for someone to be, I don't know, an understanding coach, to kind of have that perception themselves?
Yeah, I think that's what I've tried to bring. I think in terms of when I was asked to go on board with the coaching staff, I think I'm able to bring that from a player's perspective. I think throughout my career, I've not always had one way. It's never like I haven't always been the star player. I haven't never had injuries. I've had to kind of do different parts of different things that every player has to do. So I think on a human side, I can relate to a lot of players. You know, if players are coming back from injury, I can talk to them about how when I was coming back from injury, look, it takes time, be patient. If players aren't playing every week, you know, everybody wants to play. Everyone wants to play every minute they can, but only 11 players can start. And I've been in that position where I've come back from injury, been on the bench, not played. So I think I have a good kind of understanding how every player is kind of feeling in certain moments. So it's been able to relate to them and I suppose help them through it, because as football goes, like, you need a squad for a season, you need everybody to be part of it. And I think trying to help the girls through with that and say, look, everyone's going to play their part at some stage. So it's been nice to be able to kind of relate to the players on that stage as well.
It has been fascinating what's happened at the highest level, we'll say, of the Women's Super League in the UK, in Arsenal and Chelsea, where, you know, some coaches went in there and said, Harriet, physiologically, you're very different from men. We need to do things in a different way. You've got cycles, you've got periods. It kind of broadened it out to all sports. I've talked to GA players inside here, camogie players, who were like, all the research that they've done in the Women's Super League has really sort of helped us let people understand. For you, that's got to be important, right? For women's actual physiology to be important in what it is that they're doing. Their cycles.
Yeah, definitely, of course it is. I think that's something that's a lot of stuff has gone into over recent years. And I think that's been, for me, one of the biggest things throughout my career that I've noticed is that we're constantly comparing women's football to men's football, women's sports to men's sports. And obviously we want the same exposure, we want equal kind of opportunity and stuff like that. But there are different elements to it, because women obviously have to go through certain things to be ready to play, you know. So it's a different type of sport as such in that sense. But I think so much work, so much research has gone into it now, as you say. I know players like Leah Williamson and other players like that talking about these things. It opens up to people that there's other things that female players and female athletes have to go through. And obviously, as a female coming through from the game, obviously I have that kind of experience in doing that. But I think, that's never really been an issue in terms of any of the teams I've played in. I think everybody's always been quite open and talking about that sort of stuff. And most male coaches that I've played with, played under, particularly in recent years, are very open to it as well, like, which is good to see. Like,
It's great to hear.
Yeah, and you mentioned there that people compare men's sports to women's sports, and like, I know from when I was younger, it's improved a whole amount from like can't see, can't be. You know, in your experience over the years, how do you think the progress has, or what kind of progress has been made in terms of women's sports, in terms of, I don't know, resources and match attendance?
yeah, it's definitely improved. I think you can see that. And again, you mentioned the Women's Super League. I think when you see the attendance at the Emirates and the new camp, obviously Real Madrid and Barcelona had sell-out stadiums, which is brilliant to see. But I think that kind of only can be every once in a while, which is, it's not great either, you know, that way. So I think it's about sustainability. It's about trying to make it happen every week, not just maybe like for us with Rovers. If the Irish women's team have a good result, you might get a few fans that weekend want to come out and support the team. And it's about trying to keep them coming and keep them at it. So definitely there's been huge strides made in my career, and in the time I've played, I've seen huge strides made, but there's still a lot more to be done. I think we still have a little bit of catching up to do. And I think that will take time. But I think it still has a little bit more to go.
So let's talk about the current national football team. We've got a new manager in Carla Ward. There's been a lot of change with Eileen Gleeson. Carla's come in. And, you know, from the high of the World Cup, regardless of what happened there, you know, we've got Ireland, we've got injuries. You know, we've had various results recently. What do you make of what's happening?
Yeah, look, I think obviously the Greece results were a good positive.
Yeah.
You know, to come back off that Slovenia defeat. I think that was a bit of a wake-up call for a lot of people. For the players, and obviously I think for Carla coming in, Carla's coming with a new system, something different to what the girls would be used to in terms of wanting to keep the ball, be possession-based players. Before maybe we weren't kind of trying to do that, and now Eileen tried to bring it in a little bit, but I think it's been a transition for them. And as I said, I think that 4-0 result probably said to them, because maybe we're not quite there just yet. Maybe we have to kind of calm it down and just start to get back to the basics, you know, and do the basic things well. And as I said, those two results against Greece probably were a welcome boost to the team. But definitely it's a team in transition. Few players retired. Obviously, the likes of Louise Quinn out injured. Niamh Fahey is a big loss. Diane Caldwell. They're all players that have been there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it is a transitional period. We have a lot of young players coming through, and look, hopefully we'll see more of kind of the under-19s Irish girls, the under-17s Irish girls. There's a lot of really good talent in there, so hopefully the pathway will be open for them.
Look at her players. The
They
under-17s
have
are
to,
ready to go for the national. Look at you.
You
Fair play.
started on the under-17s yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. I would have, my first international camp would have been under-17s.
I know you're
was
coaching.
about 14, yeah.
I know you're
Yeah,
coaching.
so-
That's deadly, isn't it?
Yeah.
That must feel amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it's great. Again, it's for me nice to be able to relate to a lot of the girls, because a lot of the girls that I'm coaching now in the Irish under-17s are in the same position I was at that age, you know. So I know exactly what their aspirations are, their hopes and dreams are going to be. So I can relate in that sense and hopefully help.
So does it
help
help
them
with
on that.
missing the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I still join and train a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Every time
you
you
can't
need a
help
number,
it,
I'm
I
like,
tell
Holly,
you.
can I play? There's myself and Evan, who's the strength and conditioning guy, and both of us are always fighting. There's a space up for grab. We're like, I'll play. So I'm still trying to get involved. But
All right, Stephanie's just there, just going there.
I think it's hard to lose that competitive streak. You know?
She never will. She never will.
don't.
We have to talk about, you know, the photograph seen around the world. That's never going to stop. Something interesting that's emerged from that is you mentioned recently that at that time, when Ronaldo was caught giving you the once up and down at the Puskás Award for the Piedmont goal, that you ended up in the bookies about being his next girlfriend.
Oh God,
What is
this going?
What is this?
Yeah, I remember that actually. It was funny. Actually, do you know who sent it to me? Dean, my now husband, sent it. I was like, look at this. It's like, get in there. And I was like, Jesus, you're meant to be my husband. You shouldn't be saying this.
What was it?
That's a supportive
It was just
husband.
something that I think he had broken up with the girl he had been with for a while. And then that was apparently the next thing. And I remember seeing it going, gee,
You were
that's
odds
a
on to
stretch.
be his next girlfriend.
It was a stretch.
Yeah, well, I think you did well. I think you dodged a bullet there, and
We're living in Dubai. Who needs that? Who needs that? I love that Dean sent you that going, look, you could be going out with Ronaldo.
So we're obviously big United fans and would have been fans of Ronaldo as such. So it was almost that, like, gee,
He could be at the top of your laminated list, Stephanie. That could be it. I know that you have taken up golf recently, that you were doing something, because I know the woman who's coaching you.
You do, Hazel, yeah.
Hazel Kavanagh, who I know her, she coached me a little bit in golf to help me out with my swing, and she was just like, yeah, she's just so much better than you. How are you getting on? She thinks you could be a professional already. How's it going?
Really? Yeah, she's putting a bit of pressure on me, I have to say. I've only had one proper lesson. Actually, I was in touch with her yesterday to try and get my next lesson in. So I've always loved golf. I've always liked the idea of playing it, but never had the time to actually do it and go and practice, as you say, my swing and know the different techniques. So right now I'm getting that bit of help from Hazel and trying to get used to different techniques and knowing how to hit it, because there's so many times where I go to the driving range and I hit the ball, get a couple of really good ones, and in fairness, a lot of golfers have told me that never goes away, where you slice the next one or you hit this. Like, I put a picture or a video on my Instagram the other day where I had a few really good ones and then one that I completely sliced and I went into the sideboard. So I'm still learning how to kind of be patient and mentally get it right, but
it's so frustrating, isn't it?
Here it is now, yeah. So yeah, no, it is. It's a learning.
Are you going to be doing the Pro-Am this year?
Yeah, so I'm doing the first tee campaign, obviously, with Golf Ireland, and obviously that's going to culminate with me playing in the Pro-Am, so I'm really excited for that.
She won't lose the competitive streak. Stephanie Zambra, thank you so much for joining us and chatting with us today.
No problem. Thanks
Best of luck in the new coaching role.
Tina's something else. Go on, have a go of Ronaldo. Lovely chatting to you. Thanks so much. Cheers,
Now,
Stephanie.
still to come, wonderful wines for the long weekend.
We're over on the catwalk as well to learn the rule of thirds fashion formula.
Very important. We'll see you in a few.
See you in a while.